Let me ask a question. You deal with very complicated cases. That's the nature of what you do. I suspect Dr. Ryan sees similar kinds of cases, different GPs differently. How do we teach primary care physicians to unpack this situation? How to figure out, well, it could be we've got a dependency issue, a drug dependency issue, or maybe we've got this, or maybe we've got that. Do we train doctors how to do that in medical school? Do you folks or any other folks serve as a resource to help primary care doctors deal with these complicated cases when they show? Like I said, I suspect you get those kinds of cases, but there may be some primary care doctors that would be a little flummoxed by that.
Yeah.
So in family medicine, when you can speak for, part of the requirement be a training residency is behavior health. And every program has at least a PhD, if not a MD psychiatrist, and the program. We do too. And that's integrated into the 3 years. We're the only primary care specialty that does that.
So you feel like we're on it?
Yes. I think, like you said, you have to know your limit. I really think that's where it comes down. You have to say, my limit, it may be different than his, which may be different than somebody else's, and everybody has a different limit. But I think most of us feel comfortable with the initial evaluation and assessment and then saying, this is my limit, or no, I can take care of this.
Yeah, so you feel like you can sort through, is this an addiction issue? Is this a mental health issue? Is this some sort of behavioral issue?
Yeah, the behavior is the hardest one. But I think that the biggest issue though is the access and the stuff that we've been talking about tonight.
So a lot of that, to me, at our program at Packard, we dealt with people who couldn't quite get into CSTS, but were sicker than I saw in Dexter. So it was like a moderately severe group. And we went through a really pretty intentional process to try to really train the primary care people to a little deeper level over time than you would typically see. I use the term suburban family practice or standard family practice because that's who was coming in our door. So, it takes some time and, people start at different places and move along. And then some people are just better at it, right? So Tim and our MSW actually, we're a small enough group, they actually created sort of an educational program for each of us that was not didactic, right? It was adult learning and all sorts of creative things about how you teach adults who are well trained to go deeper in an area than their standard training is. When you do that with physicians, you have to have good backup, right? Because if you're doing things a little bit differently, you have to make sure you have specialty backup while you go there. So that was actually one of the more fascinating processes. This has been just a great program for me, and that was one of the real fun parts is really getting a group that has more training and does things. We assume that we do things now that, a decade ago we would have, what? You want me to do what?
Yeah, if I can just piggyback on that. So it's also been one of the most challenging and rewarding things for me is being a psychiatrist officially for a half a day a week in a clinic that serves 9,000 people across 2 sites, targeting the uninsured and the underinsured, right? So I ran the numbers once, and if I personally evaluated everyone in the Packard practice who had a behavioral health condition and saw them once, just once, I think we decided it would take, based on my time allocation, 23.5 years. So which was great, because those are, but when you say that to the primary care team, like, well, that model's not going to work, what else can we do, right? So my job really at Packard is to be the backup person for the primary care docs and someone who can help primary care providers to expand their breadth of knowledge about behavioral health conditions and depth of toolbox to use for specific ones, so that in fact primary care providers can become psychiatry extenders too. Without that, they're already prescribing the vast majority of antidepressants. But, you know, at Ray's shop, you know, there are a whole bunch of people who need other forms of psychiatric medication too, and we needed to get to them as well.
But do you feel like across the country, in training primary care physicians, that they're learning these skills? I mean,
I think we have a long way to go. I actually think there are great opportunities for us to think about what we're talking about today, integrated care, and how to develop training modules that we think could work, that can be evaluated, and if they do work, there can be a spread strategy to disseminate them. You know? So for many years, and Dr. Zazab doesn't even know this, I worked at Ipsy Family Medicine as the psychiatrist there for a little while, which was great because every family medicine resident has to be a psychiatrist for a while to graduate. I love that model. They have to tolerate me in their clinic doing this stuff. Which was great, which also meant I could take them to my shop too, and I would take the Ipsy Family Medicine residents to our crisis residential services house, where people who need, you know, really 24-hour intervention can stay in the community, but still hopefully get what they need. It was a great opportunity, you know, for me, but also I hoped for trainees to learn more about the mental health side of things. I think we need to do more of that. I think there might be opportunities for us, given the movements, the winds that are pushing us all towards integrated care, to even do more than we're doing now in training programs and across, you know, a variety of disciplines that provide primary care kind of function.
Phil, you're in the medical school. Do you see this changing in your training of doctors?
Like this year, next year we're totally changing the curriculum.
Ah,
Totally. Not, but I don't think they could part of it. But I don't know. I'm not do it. But I know they're totally changing. So the first 3 years are going to be 2 years, and they're going to be making all these tracks. It's like a tree with branches and.
this is not going to be like a new model of a car that you don't want to buy, the first few that come off.
I don't know enough about it.
Okay. All